We are the last undefeated team in the NFL.
Go Birds.
We are in my opinion, the front runner for the MVP award. Sirianni right now is the front runner for Coach of the Year.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Good protection for Jalen Hurts, who takes a shot, and he's got A.J. Brown inside the 10, inside the 5.
For the Eagles at their own 47. Good protection again, launched downfield. Watkins wide open, touchdown.
Ain't this what they've been waiting for? You ready?
Chip, are you there? Chip.
Hey.
Chip, come in.
Hey.
Chip.
Testing. Hey.
There we go.
Hey, I was here. I was just like, that's still my frozen face, though. What's up, everybody? It is the Sports Wheelhouse. We are on season 2. This is episode,
I think it's 3.
Cool. Episode 2 of season 3. I am Chip and Chip for the Birds and Umpire Stories, joined as always by JD at D2N Pods at KKSTM. We got a special show for you tonight. We are going to look at the NCAA bracket, which is really great since I have absolutely no knowledge on anything happening in college basketball this year, other than some criminal things from the number 1 overall seed. It looks like the NCAA bracket is kind of a mess this year. For the first time in 43 years, there is no Philadelphia-based team in the NCAA tournament. So that's something.
Crazy. There's also no UNC.
There's no UNC, even though a bunch of seniors ran it back to try and make another run at it and didn't even make the damn tournament.
Amen. And then they pouted and act like they didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. So I mean, there's definitely going to be, it's March Madness. This is what this is. So we're going to look at brackets, and if we have time, we do have a little mini wheel that we're going to get to, as it is the Sports Wheelhouse. So a little mini wheel up. A little mini wheel right there if needed. We got like 6 or 7 topics on there. But we're going to start with the bracket. So JD, you actually do follow college basketball.
I do. So here's the bracket.
Let me ask you, while this bracket's kind of on the screen for the first time.
Yeah.
There's always drama with the last 4 out and the first 4 in and the seeding and everything like that. So let me ask you this. In your opinion, did they get it right this time around?
Yes and no.
Okay.
There will be people who will say, UNC not being in is good, but there's some UNC fans who really are pissed off about UNC not being in, and then turning around and making the NIT and saying, hey, we don't want to go to that. Basically crying like spoiled brats. And then you got some, Villanova's missing out, Temple's missing out. Like you got a lot of these, historically different teams that would normally be in who are out. And so the field of what I think is a field of 60. No,
it's 68 technically. It's 68 because of the first 4
playing games.
First 4 playing games. Which, by the way, just at first glance, how does a team with a 14-20 record make it? Did they win their conference?
Yeah.
Got it.
Win that conference, and then you can have also in that large bid, kind of like in high school ball.
I know that part, but you're 14-20. That is not even like it's like a sub 500, like one game. You're bad. You're a bad basketball team.
Well, okay, I will throw this out there. So there's 2 teams on this bracket where they lost their star player at the beginning of the season for and he had ACL surgery, and now they're back. So you also got to take into consideration, just like with football, like if there's a major injury that happens during the season, or that's before the season happens, you have to take that into account when they do these seedings. You're also going to get players back as a result of that sometime during the year. We got Kenna checking in, and they say we got no sound.
Turn your volume up. I feel like we got sound. I'm rocking sound.
I'm getting sound from you too.
Hold on, let me try something here.
Oh yeah,
I'm live on Facebook. We're good, Kenneth. I think it's your device, my friend.
It might be you, my friend. But so we got some people checking in, but I think if I think they got it wrong, I think Clemson should have been in.
It's always you and Clemson, man.
Dude, I'm just being real.
Does Clemson even have a basketball team? Like, what are you doing?
They're the number 3 team in the ACC. They were like undefeated in ACC play until like midway through.
I'm messing.
Oh, yeah, they were good. They were good. My boy PJ Hall from Dorman.
I'm messing with
Represent my boy PJ Hall. Shout out to PJ Hall and the Dorman Cavaliers, who've won, I think, 3 state championships in a row now.
So, all right. So then, kind of continuing along this line of questioning, then, so you've got a team like, and again, I'm just real because it's so noticeable, right? You've got Texas Southern, and they're 14-20 as their overall record.
Overall record, yes.
But they won their conference.
Yeah.
But they're still listed as a 16 seed play-in game where they will have to go against one of these powerhouse 1 teams. So if you win your conference, should you be forced to play in one of these play-in games? Or should you even be I think you should be eligible to be in the 64.
You shouldn't because, okay, think about it. So, like, there'll be teams that are from the smaller Division I conferences. And so that's like almost like the football argument. Like, hey, is it better to win your conference in you know what I'm saying? Is it better to hear your conference be in your conference and to be beating up on everybody and then get that at-large bid because you won your conference, but you're not really proven like the idea of TC the football thing.
So like again, I'm really focusing on the rankings of this. So like Penn State, didn't they win the Big Ten?
Yes, I think.
Okay, so they're a 10 seed, but Michigan State is a 7 seed.
Fair, yes.
But Penn State beat Michigan State at some point to get the Big Ten title.
So what happens is with these things is like they're using you get this punching your ticket.
Strength of schedule. I get that, but Penn State even had the better record, 22-13, compared to Michigan's 19-12. Michigan State's.
So you gotta look at strength of wins. Oh, here we go. We got people coming in chatting in the box with the chattier boxes. Nice. So what you can honestly think about is this is how I like to think about it for people who are trying to know it. You have your regular ranking. So when they did the AP poll came out. So those top 20 teams are normally in. All right. So then you open it up. Just winning your conference just punches your ticket, but it doesn't really help you for your seeding. If you're still a bad team, then chances are you're going to be a bad team. And they're still using things like they use in the football playoff. Strength of conference, strength of win, the eye test. So I'm assuming that committee that's meeting to do the seeding, which they're watching games on like Championship Sunday, like everybody else, to try to find out the seeding. And just like Duke just won their conference championship, they're a 5 seed. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? So it just kind of lets you know, like, whatever, you know, what's what. So the seeding matters, but also whatever you've done throughout the year matters. Like, I hate to beat a dead horse, but it can't just the conference play just can't save it. Just like if we talk about in football, like the conference play just can't save my Tigers every year because their conference is weak. So, you know what I'm saying? So that I do like that part of it.
I do too. And like I said, you know, I think that the way that they kind of set all the conference schedules up and then the tournament brackets up, like it's designed for chaos when March rolls around. So like I get it.
And it's not only that, Chip, like not only just the not to cut you off, but like just the chaos part is why it's called March Madness. You want these teams that would never get to play during March. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to see. But they make such a big deal. So like I'm looking at and again, I'm just doing a quick run of everything. So like Oral Roberts, they're 30-4. Now, obviously, they do not play in as good of a division as Duke. We understand that. Duke is 26-8. But Oral Roberts at 30-4 is probably better than a 12 seed. Right.
But here's the deal. They have a 12-5 matchup with Duke, so they always make a big deal. Well, there's always a 12-5 upset. Is it really an upset if you're coming in with 30 wins on a season?
Yeah, because you gotta look at the value of those wins.
I get that.
Because think about it, like the ACC, the teams that like Duke just literally ran through the ACC. I'm a Duke fan, so I'm gonna have a little bit, more skin in the game. But they just ran through the ACC championship, and I don't think anybody expected them to be that good. But people forget they got healthy throughout the season.
True.
Beginning of the season, like so, just like football, like what I'm saying, those you'll see like Ohio State that look like they're weak at the beginning. But as the season goes on, those guys come back off injury. You get you get full complement of guys. Yes, they're playing a 30-win team, but I can guarantee those 30 wins are not equal to the 20-something wins that Duke got, or Miami, or any of those teams that have made it out of the ACC. This is the first year in conference history that the top 3 teams all the ACC did not make it into the big dance.
Yeah.
Because there's teams left out. So listen, I love the parody, and we'll get into it. We'll go parody by parody. And we'll get some of this stuff. But just like Kim saying, like, he's a Tar Heels fan. Like, I want to talk about that real quick. Like, when you're from the South, you don't always pull for the teams that line up. Like, I'm a Clemson Tiger football fan, but I'm a Duke basketball fan. Now, my dad is a Tar Heel fan and a Clemson Tiger fan in football, because when I was growing up, my dad was like, he forced UNC down our throat. So when I finally got the opportunity to take that, to get my own opinion, I love Coach K. And I remember I made my dad send me to Duke Elite Camp one time. Like, I made him. Like, I was like, I want to go. And I think I took all my allowance money and went. But there's just a different level of like, I think there's just like a different level of following on college sports down south, because there's no pro teams. So it's just so much bigger. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, and I get it. I mean, it's tough until you start to see the games, and the games are always so exciting. Like, I do love watching March Madness, and I honestly, most years I really do try to follow a little closer, but with everything happening in Philadelphia this year, it was tough to lock in on that as well.
Adam checking in.
Adam, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the games to start. I was trying to make sense of the seeding and everything, and what teams were there when I started. And is there any teams that didn't make it besides Clemson that you feel like should have?
You could have taken maybe another Pac-12 team. They seem to be very strong this year, and they had a lot of chaos as well. Like, I think down to the wire, like UCLA and Arizona were going at it in their conference championship, and that got really dicey as well. So there's a lot of these teams in these bigger conferences that I do think they get I think they do get a short stick of the deal, because like, they play such a tough conference schedule that they could have 4 or 5 different losses within that conference, and they could still be one of the stronger teams coming out of the country. So that's kind of the SEC approach. So when you talk about the football part, like, SEC teams play so many more good teams during their season, but yeah, Alabama and possibly Georgia only make it out of football for their for the conference championship, and those guys are just as deserving. Right. I do want to throw this up. You want to hit the South real quick?
Let's do it.
All right, so we got the gentleman take this comment down real quick. Sorry, Adam. So we're in the South bracket. So the South bracket is going to get dicey here. You got Alabama as the number 1 overall seed for the tournament, and the overall number 1 seed on this particular side of the bracket,
which is usually a kiss of death lately.
It has been. I will tell you
personally, with the very little I know about college basketball this year, is that Alabama is a straight up powerhouse.
Yes, they got dudes. They got some kids from South Carolina. So I would definitely a kid from South Carolina, one of their better players. He is an absolute animal. And anytime you got a kid from South Carolina on your team, then you got a chance.
Yeah, right? You're such a homer. I love it.
Listen, dude, I'm being honest. When it was John Morant in it, outside of his mental health issues now, John Morant ran amok in the NCAA championship in the tournament. So you got Zion, same thing. These guys are they're built different here. But I will tell you this. So you got the first, let's just take the low-hanging fruit, Alabama on A&M.
I mean, Bama's going to run the table for a couple games.
I think you're right. I think Bama is going to be I think Bama's going to run through. The dude from Alabama did go to Dorman High School, powerhouse in South Carolina. We'll get to some Cinderella teams. I'll give you a Cinderella team out of each bracket, out of each like section. There's actually 2 in this one though. I will tell you to watch out. Sneaky good. We talk about the 12-5 matchup. 12-5 matchup over here. San Diego State 27-6 and College of Charleston 31-3. Conference champion in their conference. I think that's a SoCon. I believe in my heart of hearts that College of Charleston will win their first round game against San Diego State.
Okay.
That I believe that in my heart of heart, that will be the first chip that we see fall. And I also believe we're going to see Furman knock out Virginia. And then we get Virginia and College of Charleston in that second round game. which will be, and they're both SoCon teams. I think the SoCon is extremely underrated. They got a bunch of guys that can really play. Just up and down there, they can really play. People are saying Bama's going to go all the way. They do have a great team. There's a lot of other teams that can beat them, I believe. But right now, as we sit today, I believe that Furman and College of Charleston are both going to be Cinderellas, at least to the second round. And then one of them will beat the other one, and then we'll get that third round matchup, which I believe will be Alabama. There'll be Alabama versus probably, if I had to guess it right now, it'll probably be College of Charleston. And College of Charleston will get knocked out by Alabama. So we'll see them go away in the third round.
So I real quick, and again, I got to stress this over and over again. I haven't really paid a lot of attention to college basketball this year.
Yeah.
So I kind of went with just impulse picks.
Yeah.
So disclaimer, I do have Alabama winning the whole damn thing.
Wow. Okay.
Because again, everything I've heard about them is the only thing that really gets in their own way is themselves. But again, we'll see that number one overall seed is kind of like a kiss of death thing. So I got Bama, I got West Virginia, I got San Diego State over Charleston, I got Virginia over Furman, so no real upsets yet. I got an 11-6 upset with NC State. I got Baylor winning. I got Utah State with an upset. I got Arizona. So my top bracket is pretty much almost straight. I got Bama, San Diego State, Baylor, and Zona. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 5. Bama, Baylor, so 1, 3, and then Bama coming out of the South. Talking to one of my good buddies, Mike Barrera, who we invited to be on the show because he does a lot with college basketball and the union and all that stuff. He agrees. I'm looking at his bracket that Furman will upset.
Yeah. They're strong coming out of the SoCon.
But
Furman and College of Charleston.
Yeah, well, he has San Diego State beating College of Charleston, and then San Diego State beating Furman. So he's got Bama, San Diego State, Baylor, and Arizona, and Baylor coming out of that bracket.
Okay, so I want to go back. I took it down for a second, but I want to hit this real quick. So there's another sneaky good game.
Okay.
And it is Missouri versus Utah State.
Mm-hmm.
Missouri is strong.
Okay.
In the SEC in the SEC tournament, they turned it on. They got a couple key pieces back. To say the least, a really good streaky shooter. And I don't believe that Arizona should get any type of pushback from Princeton. I just don't think there will. Even if you're thinking like there could be 3, it won't be. It will probably be Missouri moving on, and probably Arizona moving on. So we'll get that Missouri Arizona matchup in that second round. And I do have, if I'm in my heart of hearts, I do have Arizona taking that and getting on down. I have Baylor coming all the way through there too. So then I got Baylor taking on Arizona at that second knot. So with a third knot, I'm sorry. So I just got a really good feeling, a really strong inclination that we're going to get some really, really good games in that third and second round. A lot better than we've had in the past, especially in the South region. Maybe not in other regions, but the South. And it seems like the South is top heavy.
Yeah. I agree that, like, if you look at the 1 through 5, I mean, Bama, San Diego State, Virginia, Baylor, and Arizona. I mean, those are all pretty good teams, and they've been good teams for a while. So I feel like if you look at the rest of the brackets, I think the East is probably along that caliber. Can't say the same. I mean, I don't think Xavier, has been historically a great program.
I will say the sneaky good game.
Oh, so we're in the East. Okay, I'm there.
Yeah, we'll be in the East. I would say if I gotta pick a Cinderella possibly coming out of here, would be somebody like a Florida Atlantic.
Okay.
Because they're so close in seeding with Memphis. And I believe that they try to give us some of the better when you're in the 8 or 9 seed. I believe that you get a better game in the first round. The weird matchup has been that 12-5 matchup. But I think that the magic number in this particular section of the East will be that Florida Atlantic. They got some dudes that can really fill it up. And if Memphis isn't careful, and if they're foolish as they've been all season, and getting in foul trouble and like not closing out, just making bad basketball plays. They're not a bad coach team. They're just a wild team. And so that could be a problem for someone who has a very systematic offense as Florida Atlantic has. And then another sneaky good game could be that Providence Kentucky game. Kentucky needs to be on high alert. Providence always has a plethora of shooters and guys that can put in a corner and say, hey, when you guys clamp down on us on penetration, we can hit a jump shot. I believe that those are the two sneaky good games if you're a betting person and you want to if you want to do something. And then so Adam here is saying, I've been hearing that West Virginia is going to make a run this year.
Well, I mean, here's the deal. If West Virginia is going to make a run, I mean, they got to beat Maryland in the first round, but then they got to beat Bama right away. So yes. I think if they could get past Bama, maybe they can make a run, but that game is going to be a dogfight.
And like I said, I just think that the committee's done a really, really good job. I think that they've just done a really, really good job with monitoring how they've done things. They just have put together some of the better teams that you wouldn't get to see play each other normally. And this is where we asked for it. Like we asked to see a Purdue and maybe a Purdue getting a chance to play a Florida Atlantic or Memphis for that matter. These teams don't normally play. Like Tennessee very rarely has an opportunity to play.
That's what this is supposed to be about, right? Not just the regular matchups that we see all season after season. I'll tell you that my East bracket, again, just from filling it out real quick, my East bracket is my chaos bracket. I got Purdue getting knocked out in the Sweet 16. I got Marquette coming out of this bracket, but it's after they beat Oral Roberts in the Elite Eight. So I got in the first round, I got Purdue, Florida Atlantic, Oral Roberts, Louisiana. So those are all upsets. I got Kentucky, I got Kansas State, I got USC and Marquette. I got Oral Roberts beating Louisiana. I got Purdue losing to Oral Roberts.
Somebody got Marquette. I think Kenny Tennis got Marquette. He's saying, look out for Marquette.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Again, talking about our buddy Mike Barrera, he has Marquette as the national champions.
Wow. Marquette is strong. They've been a steady top 10 team all season.
They've been good.
They've been steady. I just have a feeling that Michigan State is going to they're going to present a problem that is a more physical problem for them. Michigan State's a little bigger, a little stronger, a little faster. Big Ten play. They played a little more heavy hitters, and I'm pretty sure they play out of the Marquette's out of the Big Ten. No, the
Big East.
Big East. And I just don't believe the Big East has got it anymore. Like back in the day, they were kind of there when they had Villanova and all them in there.
Your Georgetowns, your Villanovas. I mean, they still are all there, but there's no Georgetown on the list. There's no Villanova.
Georgetown.
Somebody had to win that division.
Right. Georgetown is buns. They had to fire Patrick Ewing. So you know that they're on the downward
they had to fire a legacy.
So I don't think they're as high up. I just don't think that they can keep up with the physicality of Michigan State. They will probably beat Vermont, but remember, Vermont is also known for having shooters, and they will have bigger, no disrespect, but big white guys that can really stroke it.
Listen, as soon as you said Vermont, I thought, how white can we be?
Yeah, they're gonna be white. They're gonna be non-athletic for the most part, but they're gonna run their stuff. They're gonna get to their spots. They're gonna shoot the pill off the ball if you leave them, and they'll get you in foul trouble by getting you going downhill. So
but they won't get rebounds, and if you put a little bit of pressure on a shooter, here's the thing: being a middle-sized white guy who can shoot a three,
right?
Hi, that's my whole game. If you get in my face, you knock me off my game,
right?
So Marquette being the more physical team, they should be able to make pretty easy work of Vermont, but we've seen crazier things happen.
Listen, I'm just telling you, Vermont gets hot in one of these games where it's going to be probably an early game. There won't be there'll be no lights on, no glamour on this thing. They could fall asleep and they could end up getting an early exit.
Mikey,
Chip, you're white. Neat news.
Word.
That's the man that we speak of, Mikey.
Yeah, we're talking about your bracket, Mikey. So you got Marquette going the whole way. I don't know if you want to, pop in a comment here and kind of explain your rationale, at least as far as that goes. But why
it's
you
not
got
a bad place. It's not a bad place.
It's not a bad pick. And you saw Ken saying the same thing, like Marquette's going to make a run. But I'm curious to know, Mikey, kind of maybe why you that's your squad.
And I'll let him, when he pops it up, we'll talk about it. And I don't want to steal any thunder at all from this thing, but there's another sneaky good matchup right here
In the East?
No, it's going to be over in the Midwest.
All right, I'm over there, sliding on over.
So a lot of people right now are thinking that Houston could also win it all. And I'm telling you, there's been lots of grumblings about them winning it. I don't even have Houston getting out of their own bracket without being scathed. I think Miami takes them out at that top
in the
9.
Sweet 16. So we both have them getting knocked out in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I have them getting taken out by Miami.
I have them getting knocked out by Indiana. So
just joined. Big East was a good conference. Shaka has emphasized defense and has really some impressive wins. No, I'm telling y'all,
Houston's incredibly coached. Yeah, but they're going to go against a physical team and they're going to have a problem.
Exactly. In Miami is that team that is physical and they're battle tested. And they listen, as much as people say the ACC is down, you still can't I still take my chance with the ACC team. We watched year after year North Carolina make these runs when we think they're having a down year. I just think Miami's that type of team that's going to be sneaky. They're going to be hard to beat. They're hard-nosed. They're going to play hard. They're going to get downhill on you. Those guys are all athletic. I think Wong is going to be – I'm telling you better watch Miami. Miami has Wong. He's a vet. And, in these tournaments, that's where the vets really show their value. He said that's why the Mint is the best, man. So many matchups. I hope Sincere Carey and the Kent State can make a little run. Based on the one bracket that I filled out where I have. I'm not putting anything past those guys.
I hope that's not the case, Mikey, because in that situation, the one bracket that I filled out, I have Indiana going to the Final Four. So if that were to happen, where Kent State makes a bit of a run, that would screw me since they play them in the first round.
Okay, so since we talked about some of these things, how strong, and I also believe that Texas is very strong.
Yeah,
Texas has been kind of 1, 2, 3-ish, 4. They've been up there some points during the season, and I do believe that they also are dangerous. But this may be the most continuity in a bracket of all the brackets. The Midwest bracket is probably the hardest to probably
whoever escapes it is gonna
because you have
actually done something.
Yeah, because you got a Pittsburgh matchup in Greensboro. Pittsburgh and Mississippi State are going to go at it, and that's like in there, basically like they're playing.
I got Pittsburgh winning their play-in and beating Iowa State.
Now, if it was girls, I'd say absolutely not, but it's because it's the boys, Iowa State. Yes, I will second that with you. I will go and take those odds.
That's kind of what we started the conversation off with. It's like I look at it. For me, the play-in game should be straight 16 seeds across the way. You know what I mean? Like you can't put 2 11 seeds in there. Put the bottom 8 teams in the play-in games. Give everybody a chance to play a competitive matchup, and then have them get walloped by the number 1 seeds.
Okay, so I'm here I see this one Adam is putting up, and I agree with you, man. Like I like that thought process. But he says I have Baylor winning the whole thing. I'm not going. It's like 4 or 5 different teams that I have that could win it all. It's just the most parity and the most continuity that we've seen in a while. A lot of these teams are not just walking into this thing thinking that they got it. The Midwest has the most parity and the best pairings and probably some of the better competition in it. And I don't know how this happened because you got Indiana, Miami, Houston, Texas. You got a lot of these teams that can really make a run at it. And if you're like Mikey and you really want to see an upset and you want straight chaos, go ahead and let Kent State make a little run real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like if that's how it's gonna go, the chips could fall kind of early. But I think that Texas and I forgot to Texas A&M's over there too. So you got Texas A&M over there as well, and they had a really good showing in the SEC championship or tournament. So listen, man, I am all for the chaos that is coming this year, and I think if you are wanting to just walk into this thing, making your bracket, and without having to think about it, you're going to have to.
That's how I'm operating. And I think as I'm kind of going through the show, I'm processing like why I'm so disinterested in NCAA basketball this year. And I think for me, like the one thing that's always been consistent with college basketball is those coaches, right?
Right.
Your Krzyzewskis, your Dean Smiths, your Roy Williamses, your Jay Wrights, and there's none of that in here. You know, you got Bill Self if he's healthy enough to coach.
Right.
You got some of the young guys, which is great. But I have, for me, no connection to this tournament. I just don't.
I'm gonna be real with you. I normally, in last year, you could tell last year I really wasn't into it. I didn't know, wasn't keeping up with any storylines. I spent like the last 7 days just combing through possible, bracket busters and guys that could get in and really mess up your bracket. And I don't normally do that. This is the first year because like I was kind of down on college basketball as well when the season started. As a Duke fan, I lost Coach K, so I felt like
that was kind of it for me.
Yeah, I kind of felt like I was doing like a disservice by watching it, even though Coach K wasn't there. And then I really realized that these young players that Duke had, even though they struggled at the beginning, was cause of injury and guys just being out and not really just being on their 100%. And some of these guys are freshmen, so you just got to think about like the game's getting newer and newer, and now these new generation of coaches are going to have a chance to make a name for themselves,
which is awesome, and I want that for them. It's just. It was kind of a combination for me because of the fact of like the Phillies, the Eagles, hell, even the Union. Like there was all that other sports work. Like it was exhausting to be a Philadelphia sports fan. So I couldn't like I normally do when NFL ends, I kind of start to lock into college basketball. I couldn't do that this year.
Yeah. And this is a North Carolina fan saying Duke is coming around. This is my honest prayer for college basketball in the ACC is that there's so much parity. You don't know who wins it year to year. Somebody takes the ACC, and I love the years that it was just us in North Carolina going at each other. All the like battles me and my dad would have talking about it. But like now there's just so much more parity. Virginia had a run there for a little while, and they were really, really strong. And then Miami.
Virginia not only had a run the year before their run, they decided to be the first #1 team ever to lose to a 16.
Oh yeah, it was just crazy. You can't make yourself up.
That was awesome.
It was awesome. And so
that ruined everybody.
I remember that was the one year that we got the message like halfway through the bracket, like no one had a chance to win one. Like nobody had picked that to happen. So it's gonna be some team that is gonna bust the brackets all the way up. And that's what I look forward to every year is seeing it. Can we get it right?
I got Oral Roberts
beating Duke.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I know nothing. I told you that.
You got some wishful thinking. You want to hit this last section?
Shout out to my boy Deshaun Shepard from LaSalle. He just entered the portal. I just saw Kenneth put up a portal comment.
Oh,
so LaSalle made a run in the A10, a little bit with their sub 500 record, and they kind of did my boy dirty where they just kept a former student of mine. They kind of just kept him on the bench, even though he was just dominant every chance he had on the court. Posted a double in his first game of the tournament, and then they played him for 9 minutes in the second game.
That's rough.
That's bad coaching. That's Fran Dunphy doing the coaching.
Hey man, I can't speak on any of that, but I will say this. I want to hit this one too. All right. Sneaky good game.
Okay,
I think it will probably be a blowout, but I'm looking forward to this. But Howard and HBCU has a chance. And
I love that Howard made
Kansas.
This.
They got a chance at the big boys at Kansas. I mean, they're getting their their feet wet in this thing.
I mean, they're going to get whacked.
They may get whacked.
But I'm excited that they're in it.
Listen, I'm just good with like giving an opportunity. Like I'm kind of like how you are in the football playoff. Like just give them an opportunity to see what they can do.
Yeah, you earned it.
You've earned it. I think you win your conference. And I think that's the MEAC. I'm pretty sure that's not. Maybe it's not a MEAC. I don't know. I can't. SWAC. I don't know.
MWAC?
It might be SWAC. I think that's SWAC. You ain't SWAC. Like Deion said, if I ain't SWAC, who's SWAC? I think they're the SWAC. If not, somebody correct me. But you got some of this. I think this is the weakest. I think this is the weakest side of the whole bracket. They got a lot of teams. Iona. Remember Iona's run they made a couple
the
years.
MEAC.
The MEAC, okay. Iona made a run at it. How about UCLA? UCLA is fool's gold. I'm just gonna be honest with you, Adam. They're fool's gold.
I took them for a couple.
They're fool's gold. I think that they're gonna be the team. You know what? You know what they remind me of? If I have to be honest, they remind me of a dude that met the girl, and the girl like really likes him. He's doing like the dishes, and he's taking out the trash, and he's really nice to your mom and all this stuff. And then he gets the girl, and then all of a sudden he's just like, I'm not doing anything. He's just fool's gold. They can appear to be a good dominant team until they go up against a good dominant team, and then they do what not good dominant teams don't do.
Yeah, they kind of shelter themselves.
Oh yeah, they do, and it's gonna be they're gonna shelter in place and get their butt whooped. It's the MEAC. I don't know. I thought it was a SWAC. I think because Dion has spoiled my brain with like, if I hate SWAC, who's SWAC? Yeah. You got anybody else you want to come through on this?
No, I mean, I got Kansas getting all the way to the 8 where they get knocked out by Gonzaga. I mean, Gonzaga, they always put a big regular season numbers. It's the question mark of whether or not they can translate it to the tournament. Some years they can, some years they can't. I got VCU beating St. Mary's in what looks to be a pretty evenly matched game, even though it's a 12-5 matchup. I got VCU beating UConn because I don't even know what the hell UConn is anymore. But for the most part, I picked this one pretty straight.
Okay.
My Sweet 16 for them is, Kansas, then VCU, which is a 12. So I got a 1, a 12, a 3, and a 2. So there's your little bit of a spoiler there is, VCU doing some things.
I don't have VCU making it out of that.
But I got Gonzaga in the in the finals against Bama. So Gonzaga, I'm trusting them this year.
I don't know why you would do that.
Because I know nothing about basketball this year.
Gonzaga not going nowhere. I do not disagree with that. I just think Gonzaga is if there was like a superpower they would have hindsight as the superpower.
They have regular season strength. They're the reason. There's your argument for, like when we talk about the NCAA football bracket of if you're a mid-major school, you shouldn't be in the college football playoffs. Gonzaga is that argument. They always dominate in the regular season. And then
they were Gonzaga is Boise State of the NCAA.
Gonzaga is Hawaii from a couple of years ago in the football with Colt Brennan.
I worry about Bama with how they play. I'm telling you. I've said that all season. They've been dominant, but just like I told somebody, if they get in foul trouble and somebody starts raining threes on them, they won't. And we haven't really seen them play from behind a whole bunch either. So I'm really interested to see if they get punched in the mouth first, what'll happen.
Yeah.
He said they need to get in a tough conference.
I would like to see that. I would like to see Gonzaga. I mean, they've now had enough success.
Go to the Pac-12. If you want to test your loins, go out there and battle with the UCLAs. Are they in the Pac-12?
Gonzaga? No, they're in the WAC.
The WAC, you're right. Yeah, go over to Pac-12. The Pac and the WAC are whack. So let's just like leave that where it's at. Yeah. Let's just let them do it. Like, let's send them to the Pac-12. Let's see what they can do. Give them a run at it.
I mean, I don't know, man. They're in the first round.
They're not in the WAC. They're in the WCC. Which is also short term for WAC.
Yeah. I mean, I knew that one. I don't know, man. They got to go against the Grand Canyon Antelopes in the first round.
Yeah, I've lost interest. Hopefully they play those games late at night, so I'll never get to see them. Some teams I'm just happy they play it late, so I don't get every. I got to watch Arizona play the other day, and I'm just not like I disassociate with those West Coast teams, football and basketball. I'm just really disassociative of. I'm very dismissive of any West Coast team. I just don't think that's where the ballers are.
Who's going to be the guy? So every year there's one guy who no one's heard of, and all of a sudden he is the story of March Madness, and his draft stock flies through the roof. Who's that guy this year?
It's probably the kid from Bama that's also a Dorman kid. Let's see. I gotta think of his name. I just know his name too. He's like one of the better players. He's like that big three. The kid from Bama that's from Dorman High School. And I was gonna say if they got out, if Clemson was in it, they got a kid down there as well that is very, very good. And I know it's homish talking, but I'm telling you, these South Carolina kids get a chance on big stages. They do work. And it will be very
Noah Clowney.
I say watch out for him. A lot of people know about him, but he's very sneaky good. Like South Carolina players. I've been telling somebody else about I want to do an episode only on South Carolina basketball players and football players.
I would not be able to help you on that.
No, but I would want to compile the list, and then I would just have to try to prove to you they not a dog. Because there's been sayings for the longest time when Stephon Gilmore said that they asked DeAndre Hopkins about Stephon Gilmore. He said he's from South Carolina, he's a dog. Like, what's up? Like, and that's a Clemson guy talking good about a South Carolina guy. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just, yeah.
I mean, it's no Duke, North Carolina, but all right.
What, South Carolina versus Clemson? The hate?
It ain't the same.
I don't know. I don't think you've been to South Carolina, but
I have not. But again, you're talking Duke, North Carolina basketball.
Let's just no. But I'm talking South Carolina Clemson football. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, well that's different.
That's what we're talking about. DeAndre Hopkins talking about Stephon Gilmore. Listen, all I'm telling you is I'm gonna send you a ticket next year to Clemson versus the South Carolina.
Oh, I'll go.
Me and you, we'll bring T. Me and Sarah go. We'll get tickets. We'll go and spirit. I think this one's at Clemson. Next one's at Clemson, I think.
I'm right now in talks to go umpire out in Las Vegas for a weekend. Like,
wow,
I'll go anywhere.
He's like, maybe I have talked about it, but Max Bama's versus Oral Roberts.
I didn't know about Max Albamas, but I can tell you, I got Oral Roberts in the Elite Eight. So, Mikey, I knew.
No, I think you're guessing. I think you took the 12-5, the low-hanging fruit.
No, I did not. I looked at Oral Roberts, and they were a 12 seed, and they're 30 wins, and you don't win 30 wins for nothing.
Sometimes you win 30 wins if you play School of Deaf and Blind. So, like, if you play some of those schools.
Yeah, but even a blind squirrel gets a nut sometimes.
Yeah, but this nut going to get you hurt. Like, you mess around.
I want that on a shirt. This nut going to get you hurt.
Listen, when I saw the big kid from Duke, he's a problem. Like he's versatile. I don't know if he's just wrecking shot right now.
But how many times have we seen a dominant Duke player not translate in March Madness and then to the NBA? Jahlil Okafor is the perfect example. Dominant college basketball player who did not play well in the tournament.
Listen, I get it. I'm just telling you, this ain't this team. They've gotten stronger throughout the year, and those are the teams that make a big run. Right. The teams that gain a lot of traction throughout the year, they always will make a run. Like we tell our kids in high school, like I don't care how you play game one, but by game 3 of our conferences, we got to play everybody twice. By the second half of the conference, you need to be playing at your best. So you know what I'm saying? I just think that's what it was, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great time. Think we got some time to get some of this wheel stuff?
Yeah, man. You know we got wheel time.
You said I just do that. You said I get to this wheel stuff.
Yes, we really do.
Yeah.
So we got a couple topics on for the wheel tonight. Some of them are going to be quick hitters. I do have some baseball rantings that I have to do. But away we go. So our topics tonight are the NFL free agency is up flying, and I made some notes about that, about things that we need to discuss as far as free agency and who has already spent a lot of useless money. We got another comment about the pitch clock. We got Harden made a comment about something that sounded very Doc-like. And I'm gonna take not a shot at another one of your Steelers wide receivers, but just a question about him. So let's get going. It's a mini wheel tonight, y'all. What's that?
I can't wait for this. I can't wait for this Hines Ward situation. God damn it.
Okay.
Go there first.
All right, so I gotta
have it.
All right, well, I gotta share a different screen now because right now the World Baseball Classic is happening. For those of you that don't know, it's where teams from all over the world play baseball. Right now, the USA baseball team may or may not be in danger of being eliminated. But I want to show you guys something. So what you see here is an old school video. And it says they tried to speed the game up in 1974 by preventing hitters from leaving the batter's box. It worked out just as you'd expect. So I'm gonna full screen this real quick. So you can see it. So, hey, don't leave the batter's box. Don't leave the batter's box. Umpire, what does he do? He says play ball, and the coach is on the way. Strike one. He doesn't care where it is. Coach stands here. He's still trying. He's taking a swing and the fight breaks out. Oh, here we go.
Oh, get some. Get some.
Get some.
Oh, yeah. Get some. Get some. It looks like an NBA basketball game.
This was 1974. So I think here's where I struggle once again with this pitch clock thing. Right now, you have got an all-time excitement around baseball. You've got guys pumping their chests. You've got exciting finishes, and you don't have a pitch clock. I know that they're trying to figure it out. I know they're trying to speed up the game. And I know maybe I'm being kind of a traditionalist. I just think that it's going to cause more problems than good. But we'll see. I just kind of wanted to show that clip from 1974 to show you kind of the worst case scenario of things.
I do appreciate that, showing in that little montage there. However, I don't think people are going to fight over the pitch clock. I just don't, because it's going to be there for everybody to see. It's going to be like a shot clock.
I get, yeah, and again, when the shot clock came out, it was the same sort of thing. Like I remember, like one of the lowest scoring games was like 4-2 in basketball history. Why? Because there was no shot clock and they sat on the ball for all of two halves. But again,
I think we need one in high school. I'll be honest with you, we don't have one.
Agreed.
We need one.
For the issue with high school is you would need to have infrastructure changes. You don't have the infrastructure on some of these campuses. Like you don't have the shot clock capabilities.
Well, you do for us. They can bring one in, but the issue is like with a lot of tournaments that I see, you have to have a clock runner, you have to have a home scorebook, and then you have to have a away scorebook. So you would need an additional person to be the shot clock operator. And
you're struggling right now to find enough people to work an event.
Right. And that's what we're running into at AAU. He said some pitchers are slow. They are
right,
slow.
but now with the pitch clock, you have some pitchers rushing through it. And we said this a little bit last week where they're balking and the umpire's not stopping it. Or, Max Scherzer already has a baseball rule because he tried to out-cerebral the umpire. And he's like, well, if he's not looking at me within 8 seconds, then I'm pitching. Like, there's already issues, and that's what spring training is for and getting all this stuff out. It's just, again, as an umpire, it's an additional stress on me that you don't necessarily want. And there's another thing on the wheel tonight, which talks about how umpires can be the worst humans on the planet.
Oh, for sure. For
sure. Back to the
people.
wheel.
Your people are the worst. You're zebra people. And that's in all sports. Let's go. That's what I've been really wanting.
Oh boy. NFL free agency is in full swing. First off, let me talk about my boys in green. Here it is, March 13th.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. As of March 13th, the Eagles are worse than they were when the season ended. And that is because Javon Hargrave is now a 49er. TJ Edwards is a Chicago Bear. Marcus Epps is a Raider. Shit, Andre Dillard is a Titan. We have not added. You know who we signed? Wait. Do you know who we signed? Brett Toth.
Wouldn't know if you had put a picture of him and put him in.
He's a 75th string tight lineman. And you look at some of the teams that have already gotten noticeably better. The Cowboys are not one of them, by the way, Kenneth.
Yeah.
Cowboys have not done squat. The Giants have gotten better. The Commanders have gotten better. The Bears have gotten noticeably better. So
what about the Steelers? They've gotten better too. The Steelers got better too.
Who did?
The Steelers.
Yeah, they signed a 175-year-old cornerback. Yep, sure did.
Watch your mouth.
He was on the Eagles the last time we were in the in the Super Bowl. Before that, 2017.
We need championship pedigree. All right,
he was old then. So the Bears, right? I want to talk about T.J. Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, DJ Moore. They trade the number 1 overall pick. The Bears are building themselves a defense there. The Bears are building themselves a defense.
Well,
the
if you look at the times that they have been good in the past, they've always been
always defense. Bears are a team that do not need a good quarterback to be successful.
Because you got to go to play in the tundra. Like, even if you have a good quarterback, you got to go play them at least half of those games in Chicago.
That's where defense is dominant. Yeah, well, because, Kenneth, they don't have any money. After they're paying up Tony Pollard with a franchise tag, who should be your number one running back, they're going to give way too much money to Ezekiel Elliott again. They're giving way too much money to Dak Prescott, who he hasn't earned that paycheck yet.
None of it.
Who?
Edmonds.
Not Tremaine Edmonds. He's a Bear.
He's a Bear. Go Bears.
Got Bears. The Dolphins traded nothing for Jalen Ramsey.
No. It was like kind of like he was like, I want them. He's like, here's the truck. I don't need the truck. Don't even back it up. I just want to build a good team.
No, they already got their backup quarterback in Mike White.
And they want to do. So I think that Jalen Ramsey called Tyreek Hill and he said, I want to do hood rat things with my hood rat friends.
Well, and that's the thing. So they're of course, every free agent that comes off the board, people in Philadelphia, as us terrible Philadelphians do, go, oh, we could have got him. Oh, we could have got him. Oh, we could have got him.
They signed him today. Edmonds. What Edmonds?
Which Edmonds? I need a first name.
Wasn't there two of them?
TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds are both Bears linebackers now. But what I was going to say is the Dolphins Jalen Ramsey did not want to be on the Rams anymore. And the Rams are aging and they gotta get rid of money because they're not the same team.
They're bleeding.
They said, Jalen Ramsey, where do you want to go? So they took less to trade him to where he wanted to go. He helped get him a championship. Now where do you want to go? He was never going to sign with the Eagles. It's where do you want to go?
Nobody really wants to go to Philly unless you got a real life chance to win. They have a real life chance to win, though.
How about the fact of pretty much every running back is on the market right now? So Miles Sanders is not going to be back as an Eagle, but Derrick Henry's requesting a trade. Austin Eckler's requesting a trade. I mean, these are big name dudes. Oh, and Adrian Peterson's going to let us know soon whether or not he's going to continue playing football. I didn't realize he was still playing football.
He's been robbing small banks every time he goes somewhere.
Yeah, he's the perfect example of too much tread on the tires. Gardner Johnson is going to come back now that Epps is gone. Bradbury is going to try, but I think we're going to end up getting somebody else in that place, Adam. Couple other big deals where we're talking, just you got to laugh at. Sam Darnold is the backup quarterback in San Francisco now. So that's something. Jimmy Garoppolo is the Raiders quarterback. 3 years, $67 million.
Jimmy Garoppolo? Yeah, I saw
Jimmy Garoppolo, and is an automatic upgrade from Derek Carr. But they still won't win squad. Yeah, Kenneth, I don't know about that.
I think Eagles will be back.
As of March 13th, they will not be. I judge an offseason on did you get better from when your season ended? And right now, this Eagles team has not gotten better. They have gotten worse. Now, there's a lot of time still to go. We've got young players to step up. But they have not done anything yet worth talking about.
I want to throw this out there.
Okay.
Is Fletcher Cox back?
We don't know yet.
So as of right now, you still got Fletcher Cox. Mm-hmm. You still got a stud in Jordan Davis. Mm-hmm. Because I know he's back off injury.
Yep.
You still got Jalen
to fill TJ Edwards' spot.
Yeah. So you have Nakobe Dean. So you all these remember these guys that they drafted a couple years ago, people forgot about. He's still a monster. I can promise you. Nakobe Dean is going to be ready.
Oh, I know.
So I mean, I get what you guys are saying. Everyone's saying this, but they were tremendously the best team this year for a majority of the year until Jalen Hurts was out. And I think that
and this is Howie's season, right? This is his time.
Oh yeah,
and
he'll make a move.
He's picking his spots, and that's great and all. Jason Kelsey is back, which is better than any free agent signing. Yeah. I mean, that's huge. And now we know Isaac Salamalu is going to go somewhere else, most likely to the Colts, because that's our minor league system.
Oh, you're a jerk.
So Cam Jurgens will be the new left guard until Kelsey does retire, and then they'll move him to center. So there are things in place, but it's just they have not added anything. All they have done is subtract.
But see, this is my thing. But sometimes there is a addition by subtraction. Listen, sometimes you need to get rid of some dead weight to make room for the new stuff coming in. Like you got some new guys, some younger players that didn't get to play because they had to wait their turn. So in this case, you got guys like Kayvon Wallace and safety.
No.
I know you hate him.
I was a huge Kayvon Wallace dude when we drafted him, and he just has not done anything.
You also gotta believe that the system there, he's had 2 different defensive coordinators since he's been there.
This will be his 3rd.
So he's had 3 different defense coordinators. He's a young player. Like we don't know what the dude can really do. Like he plays one of the harder positions at safety. And if you don't already have your feet planted in the ground at safety, you can look really, really bad. And he played spur at Clemson, so we know he can almost go up and play linebacker. So they probably just confused this man at this point. And he gets a new system every single time. It's more continuity with the front line guys. There's not nothing that really much changes. It's, hey, do I stunt right or do I stunt left? Am I going, you know what I'm saying? Like those changes don't happen. But with linebackers and secondary people, they can get kind of lost in the sauce by having a bunch of different coordinators.
And when that happens, you start to struggle and it's more noticeable. Like, there was some social media drama this past week with Darius Slay. Because one of my associates over at All About the Birds decided to tweet something that he felt was truthful, but he tagged a man, and the entire NFL jumped all over him. But in all honesty, Darius Slay did struggle the second half of the season. That part is honest. Yes, Darius Slay is out there testing the market. That's honest. Should he be testing the market? No, he needs to stay right the hell where he is. I think
that's you saying that.
I think losing certain players is problematic. Losing CJ Gardner-Johnson, if that happens, would be problematic because he is that Malcolm Jenkins, Brian Dawkins level of player. Bradbury was an all-pro, but I don't think that we are going to be able to afford what the market is dictating for him, which is fine because there are other guys available if needed. Andre Dillard is a Titan. Again, the dude got I think 34, 35, 36 million, somewhere like that. Fine. He did not play here. He is still using that I am a first round pick to his advantage, which again, good on him.
Can we be honest about something here with this NFL free agency? The beginning of free agency is always a rat race. There's going to be deals being done up until the draft.
Derek Carr, $37.5 million a year. The Saints just signed Jameis Winston to a 1-year, $8 million deal. That's $45.5 million at one position.
Yeah. So let's just think about this. So let's talk about what Howie's done. Howie's drafted really, really well.
Really well.
So they're not out of the game. There's a lot of talent coming out of this draft. And we'll do a whole nother show on NFL draft stuff and we'll unpack it. I know this about Howie is that when everybody's looking left, that dude's sneaking through the right, or vice versa.
People won't do deals with him anymore. He's too sneaky.
Yeah, he's shiesty, and I like him. He should be wearing a ski mask. But
did you see the video where Jason Kelsey's like, "I'm coming back," and he does a shot with Howie Roseman?
Yeah.
What organization does your GM do shots with your starting All-Pro center?
How many people got a Jason Kelsey though?
I love me some Jason Kelsey.
I mean, let's just be honest. And there's going to be there's a lot of grumblings. People are talking about the Bears getting better and people are talking about Miami getting better. Well, sometimes you don't have to make those big slashes because you're already good. Sometimes it's just moving one chess piece over. Now, who needs to make a splash is my Steelers. We need to figure something out, and we need to figure something out quick.
I don't know what y'all doing.
We stink.
Patrick Peterson is not the solution.
He's 175 years old.
That's what I was saying.
Sis, I didn't want to admit it. He's Benjamin Button.
And they paid him a good chunk of change too.
I know, man. We're just making bad decisions all over the place. We paid TJ Watt, and he ain't been around really since we paid him.
You paid Derek Watt. He's a fullback.
We just want to just give all the money to the Watts and just say, "Hey, take it. Just rob us. Hey, here's the pass the bag. But we'll put all the money in there for you. Just walk away with it. Don't give us anything in return." Let's hit this wheel again.
Yeah, I mean, look, free agency is up and firing, but I mean, it's nothing has really happened of consequence to our two teams. However, oh my God. So, did you hear about this comment?
Of course, I didn't. Because I have not. I even told Big T Will, I said I've not been paying attention to the Sixers this year. And that might be why they're doing halfway decent, I guess.
So, 6 days ago, in basically what sounded like some straight up Doc Rivers speak, James Harden said the following.
Glenn Rivers.
Yeah, James Rivers. I don't know what they want. James Harden wants more respect. I don't know what they want from me. You know what I mean? I've been doing this thing for a very long time. I've been one of the most consistent players in this league since I've been in. Have you won anything?
You've been consistent, all right.
You've been consistently
consistently mediocre.
You've been consistently overweight. You've been consistently
out of shape.
I mean, look,
you've been consistently a partier.
He's had 2 assist games in the last week. Like he's playing excellent right now.
He's been consistently hurt.
And we know that he can put up numbers very rapidly.
Yeah, but what
he
does
has
it matter?
Never won anything. And he has played with the likes of Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant again,
Russell Wilson.
And he still hasn't won anything.
Westbrook.
Oh, yeah. If Miss Sierra has anything to say about it, he might play with
Mr. Sierra. I just want to throw this out there. And this is my point to the whole James Harden situation. I never really understood. And I mean, we had this conversation when they first signed him. You go and you try to turn the 76ers into 2017 Houston Rockets. And you've added a 97,000-year-old James Harden who looked like Fat Thor when he first got there.
And you had PJ Tucker, you had Eddie House. I mean, you add Dwayne Dedman. That was your big trade deadline addition.
So when you say, you know what you know why it sounds like Doc Rivers? Because Doc Rivers makes that comment about Pop and said, "Would you ask Popovich that question?"
Yes, no, I would. And Pop would answer it.
No, you wouldn't ask Pop because Pop would never put himself in that situation. He consistently hides in the playoffs.
He does, which is tough for a man of his stature.
Listen, I told you, he reminds me. This whole team is excuse makers. Like with the exception of Joel Embiid, who is
the NBA MVP. And I don't know how you can do side-by-side comparisons of Joel Embiid making a buzzer beater shot on a turnaround that no 7-foot human should be able to make. And then they show Nikola Jokic, the joke itch, do the exact same shot and miss horribly and fall on his fat ass.
We call him the jock itch.
He is the jock itch. That's great.
And let's just throw this out there. There's some people who will argue that Joel is wasting his career in Philly.
He is.
And
I would argue that right now.
And I have been on record saying that because of the curse of their said Doc Rivers and Ben Simmons, that the Steelers will, I mean, not the Steelers, but the Sixers will have bad luck. And it may have started with Jimmy. And because they didn't secure Jimmy at the time, that would have been their chance to make the run because they blamed Brett Brown in some way, shape, or form for him leaving. Well, they haven't been any farther with Brett Brown with Doc Rivers. They've been farther with Brett Brown than they have with Doc Rivers. With them, and which one would call a better team. They haven't had a team that could play defense really ever. So
no,
I don't know. Even the years they had Ben, maybe they had a better defensive team in Thibault, but they choked in the playoffs.
But I think it's interesting that Thibault makes comments about how he didn't really have fun in Philadelphia, and it's so nice that he's out there in Portland.
They said he's getting buckets in Portland.
He is, because he's playing a different system. He's
free. He's playing free. It's more of that Pac-12 feel. And okay, let me just throw this out. I want to answer Adam's question. I not only don't but think that Embiid will win one, it won't be here. It won't be in Philly because Philly won't do the things that they need to do to make it happen. Like they keep going to get these guys who are washed. He needs another prolific scorer with him, and it can't be 175-year-old. He can't do it with the 170-year-old James Harden. Now the equity will not be in James Harden. And you can't do it with Tobias Harris, who's constantly a ghost. Like he's just never had anyone that can stand up with him in the playoffs. And then the one time that he did, y'all let him get away when he had Jimmy. So
it is sad because watching Joel Embiid blossom into the absolute, I mean, he is a generational talent. He is a generational talent. He is Charles Barkley and AI rolled into one. He is the face of a franchise. He is.
Oh, don't forget Hakeem.
I'm just talking Sixers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Don't you forget Hakeem.
No, I don't forget Hakeem. I don't forget anything about Hakeem. It's frustrating that they just will not give him what he needs to succeed between the players around him. You know, they think that giving him James Harden is the answer and keeping Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey can't figure out if he should be coming off the bench or coming off as a starter. By this point in his career, he needs to be your starting point guard. It's just that simple. He can't be that Danny Green type player this young in his career. He's got to do that first. But there's only one basketball. So they've got James Harden and they've got Joel Embiid, and now you've got a Jalen McDaniels. It's not the same. It's like when they gave Allen Iverson
Larry Hughes.
It's a nice try, but it ain't it.
They gave it the old college try. Did you ever wonder why in the AI years they never?
Because it can't be with Larry Hughes, and then you can't be with Eric Snow and Matt Geiger and Allen Iverson. It does not work. There's got to be a little
Ratliff.
Theo, Dikembe. Like Allen Iverson played with some dudes, but it was never that dude that
Aaron McKee.
But it was never those dudes that pushed him to greatness. And James Harden is not going to push anybody to greatness. James Harden is going to get his and get out.
I am just at a point. I'm just flabbergasted at the stuff that I read on the internet.
And they're 5-game winning streak, and they'll be the 1, 2, or 3 seed, and then they'll get. I mean,
listen, I'm just flabbergasted.
The same story.
I'm flabbergasted because it's like the same thing that the media will portray. Like, hey, Joel's wasting his career. And if people in the media, the national media, will say it, then what do you think we're going to say? Yes, you've wasted his career for the last 5 years while we've been covering them. We've been on the shows with each other for at least 2 years at this point. And we've been saying the same thing. I remember got into a legit fight with my old network about the pass under the basket. Like, that's how that whole thing started. And so, like, think about that. Like, that whole thing started because Ben didn't dunk the ball. But it really started on the triple bounce on Kawhi. Kawhi single-handedly ended any chance that the 76ers had on winning the championship. Yeah. And he's plagued them for years. And
you look at all the other teams just in the East. The East constantly gets better.
Yes.
The Sixers remain stagnant.
And that happens. I mean, it happens.
But it can't happen. Like, you look at a team like the Lakers. What did the Lakers do at the trade deadline? They got rid of the deadweight and brought in whatever. They got rid of Russell Westbrook and brought in some talent around him.
Everybody's gotten rid of Russell Westbrook, though. So don't say
Russell
that.
Westbrook is
He's been on more teams.
He's Mr. Statistic at this point.
He's a basketball thought. I don't know if you...
Wow. That's
Does that make sense?
Yeah, you need a GM.
Yeah, but he's a basketball thought.
Yeah, that's too accurate to comment on. Got him. It's out. It's out.
I'm good.
Ladies and gentlemen, you just witnessed the death of JD live on air.
Yeah, if I'd have died and nobody helped me, I would have been real teed off about it.
What do you want me to do? Give you the
Call 911 and say my address. Like,
I'm patting you on the back there. I'm patting you on the back.
Like those TikTok videos, they go doom, 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 and then when they come back, then it's just I'm dead on the floor.
3 minutes later,
dead. The corner through the
okay.
And you can't end the broadcast either, by the way.
What's that?
You can't end the broadcast, so I'm just on there getting resuscitated.
All right. So there was something that happened, and I'm gonna show you it. Before I'm sure you've actually seen it. I'm sure you've actually seen it. Okay. I'm not going to say anything. And I'm just going to show you this.
Am I putting it up on screen? Okay, got it.
Yes. I'm going to show you this. I'm not going to say anything, and then we're going to chat about it after I get your reactions.
Okay.
This has been the talk of the baseball world this past week.
How old are these people?
This is college.
Okay.
It's a big gamble to take in the ninth. 1-1. Call the strike there, and it's 1-2. And oh my. Mims is showing where 1-2 coming. It's down. Oh my gosh! Wow! He got rung up on ball 2, and the game is over. Oh my goodness, that is horrific. Well, the Privateers win the game, a game they looked like they were going to win anyway, but Hummer just wanted to go home. The Privateers are a winner, 7-3. You're fine.
Hold on, so I gotta take this off.
Thoughts?
Okay.
Because I have thoughts coming from every which way. Go ahead.
Listen, as a coach, I want to put on my coaching hat. As a coach, what I have seen so often in the last couple years as I've been coaching is that umpires and referees are basically using their influence to impact games. And it is even on things because there's no way to challenge that sense of authority, especially when your team, and this is hits home for me just because of like our basketball season was ended on some very questionable calls.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, like as a coach, you try to tell your players how you got to play through this stuff. But at that point in the game, like that referee single-handedly decided the outcome of that game. Regardless if you didn't
the finality of the game, sure.
Yes. I mean, maybe they lose. They probably do lose, right? The guy says it. They probably do lose. But it's the way in which you lose. Like, you don't even give me the opportunity to compete. And I think that is the most disheartening part about, when these things happen. Because that's baseball. So, that's very final. Like, if the strike and the balls and the strikes are what basically rule the game. But like in other sports where there's definitely more judgment calls, like, come on, man, like we got to do better. That was terrible. And I'm not even a baseball aficionado, and I know that's a bad call.
So, in the words of JD, there's a lot to unpack here.
Okay. You used it properly. I
did. So, number one, at a plate meeting, before the game, we let the coaches know that there are certain things that you cannot argue. So right. Judgment calls are non-debatable. So balls and strikes, safe and out, fair or foul, you cannot argue. Now, if it's a rules conversation, you can bring that up and we can have a conversation. Okay, right. That is something that we have, but you're not going to argue judgment calls. Now, those are the black and white words of things. How you enforce the rules is vital, and it is everything. As this situation goes, the pitch comes in, the strike 2 comes in, and it's a questionable strike, and the 19 or 20-year-old kid didn't like the call. So he jumps up and down, and he points the line in the dirt where he thinks the strike zone is. Mind you, he's got to get back in the box. Why? Because there's a pitch clock. So what does the umpire do? He calls a pitch that would barely be a strike in cricket where the ball has to bounce as a way of ending the game. Now, I am in so many Facebook groups for umpires, and I follow on my umpire stories page the baseball Twitter. And they said that this umpire, quote, did this kid a favor by ending the game.
Was that score? Like, was it a mercy thing?
No, because as soon as you, quote, show up the umpire, you are supposed to be immediately ejected.
Okay.
Can
I step in there for 2 seconds?
I would never, if I had a questionable call and a kid got that frustrated, I would not eject the kid. What I would do is I would call timeout. I'd pull him aside and go, hey, you might be right, you might be wrong, but we got to get back to the game. You defuse. But by calling that. So the finality of the story is that umpire was removed from the rest of the series and suspended by the league.
Yeah, you should have been. Thank you very much, sir.
Because it was egregious. But they did this kid a favor, is what the umpire brotherhood has shared.
I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Do it.
The whole aficionado, I wear these stripes to work. I have this protective cover. And when I make a bad call at the end of a basketball football game, I get to run to my car. It's BS.
Accountability.
Accountability. I'm not saying you have to sit there and defend every single call or anything like that. But I do believe that there should be a little bit of moral compass that, hey, if I've made a mistake, and let's say this is the last game of somebody's year, you just costed them something. Like, yeah, this might be preseason. I know it's very early on in baseball season. It probably doesn't mean anything in a bigger scheme of things. But that kid in that moment, regardless if because what happens is we're playing a kid game with adult emotions.
Correct.
And because there's so much on the line for these kids. Like, it's not a normal. This isn't even Pop Warner.
There's so much stress and so much pressure. And again, some of the other comments that rolled in were, well, how was the rest of his body of work the rest of the game? So as an umpire, the number one thing I can be is consistent. So if I call something a strike in the first inning, I want to call it a strike in the 6th inning, the 7th inning, the 9th inning. Right. Because by the 2nd and 3rd inning, the team should look and go, you know what? It may not have been a strike yesterday, but that is a strike. That is a strike today. I am known as being an outside corner strike caller. If I walk onto a baseball field, numerous teams will go, he's going to call the low outside strike. He calls it every game. So not only being consistent in the game, but being consistent game to game.
Because that means that's your style. Okay.
That's my style.
Okay. So as a basketball coach, when my team walks out there on the court and I see specific referees, I know how to call my game from a coach's standpoint. What my kids need to accept. Like when we get into the huddle, we talk about that. My guys saying like, hey,
he's not going to call as much ticky-tack. He's going to let you be more physical. He's going to be ticky-tack.
And we have that conversation and we say, hey, listen, you have to play within not only within the confines of the flow of the game, but you have to play within the confines of the referees.
Because there is a human component to officiating. Yes, there is. But human is not above the law. So I call, and again, now I'm doing a higher level of baseball, so I'm seeing some of these guys more. I call them Judge Dredd umpires. So there was that old, I want to say Judge 80s and 90s Sylvester Stallone movies.
Judge Your Executioner.
Judge Dredd, where he was like this, and he goes, I am the law. I cannot stand working with Judge Dredd umpires.
Yeah.
Yes, the rule is the rule is the rule. You're right. But it's how you, the human being, enforce it.
And it's nothing wrong with tapping that kid and saying, hey, dude, like, hey, come on, let's get back in the batter's box. Let's run it back again. But you can't take that stuff personal because the thing about it is,
and you blew strike two, but how dare you? And I'll steal a strike one. Like I will. I'll steal maybe a questionable strike one just to get the batters in there and swinging. I try my best not to steal a strike two, and I will not steal a strike three.
You just can't. It's too because especially when it's just so much on the line. This is a college game. These are college players. This kid might have been playing for a scholarship. He could have been a non-scholarship athlete with an opportunity to keep the game going for his team. But now it's going to be, you know what, his character, because his character. No. And to be honest, if we go back and look at the film, all he did was jump. He didn't take a swing at the guy.
And he pointed.
Yeah, but I've seen kids like get into refs up spaces. I've seen coaches.
I showed the clip before on the wheel tonight.
Right. Like, I mean, that was, and that's no more than being frustrated when a guy has an error. Like he has an error and he's in the outfield jumping around, or he drops to his knees, or he throws his arms up, or he's cursing, and you can visibly see he's cursing. Like, there is a human component to this, but there is a human component to these players as well. It's like when these kids have bad games and we shove a camera in their face.
Yeah, of course they're gonna have a reaction. Like they're as a human, you're not, I think the word is infallible. Like you're gonna make mistakes. And you gotta own up to it. You gotta own up to it.
That's why there's a camera there. That's why there's reporters in the locker room. Hey, so and so, you played a really good game all these 3 weeks, but what happened tonight? I played bad. And that's not a suitable answer. Like if you were and they push, it's like, oh, I gotta. And there's the part where the journalistic integrity, or we're so in the ASMR world where we want instant gratification from things that we can't be okay with somebody just being like, hey, I'm not okay to answer that right now. Like I don't know if tonight's tonight. Last night was last night. Just like when people come to you and say, oh, like let's say you go to a guy today and you say, hey, this is $15 today, but tomorrow's price may not be $15. We can accept that better than saying, hey, yesterday I had a really good game, but today was not that same guy. I wasn't that guy. And
there have been times where I've had bad games as an umpire. Like I couldn't find the strike zone. I couldn't be consistent with my strike zone. Something it happens, but for you to be the deciding factor can't happen. You know, there's a couple of schools of thought with umpiring. They go, we want to be the umpire that, you know, they don't even know you're there. They're going to know you're there. Half the audience, half the crowd's going to hate everything you do, or at least half the stuff you do.
Right.
I want to be the umpire that when I show up, they go, oh, we got the good umpire tonight.
Yeah, we're going because there's some games that you'll walk into. If the basketball coach, I walk into and I'm like, we got a good crew tonight. And we know that the game will not be decided by any of these weirdos.
Correct.
That we're gonna get to play, and I like it sometimes where the game is getting chippy and the referees take control of the game because there's
just to shut down that and refocus the game on the game.
Like it's nothing wrong. I like when the ref calls a referee timeout, pulls both coaches and the captain back to the middle of the floor, recalibrate them real quick. Like, hey, the chippiness has to stop. If we don't, we're gonna start kicking guys out, and that is how you can control the game. If
right.
I
do this with my little league guys sometimes. So you've got that pitcher on the mound that he's a hothead and dad's the coach and, you know, dad rides him hard and he's, you know, every pitch that's close, but I'm not calling a strike. And I'll go, time. Coach, come out to the mound with me. We're going to talk to your pitcher together.
Yeah.
I would love that, Adam.
Do you think about how dope that would be? You have to, because you run to your life. This is what makes me mad. I'm on my soapbox. But what's so disrespectful that I think in the game of sports is when we're in high schools, in our locker room is literally right beside the umpires or the referees of that game, and they can hear us telling our guys, "Hey, you got to play through the fouls. You got to play through the contact. You got to do this." Because then I know when we go back out there, either one or two things happen. They're going to let us play more, or they're going to take offense to what we're saying. And we're just trying to, and we have to coach through that stuff. And so as a coach, even if I'm telling my guys to recalibrate, adjust to the way that the game's being called, there's also a level of protection that I have to have for my guys as a coach.
Right.
Like, hey, like if you don't start calling something, one of these guys is going to get cut or get hurt. And that's on your content. I wonder how many times if we put a microphone in their face, like, hey, if you had called 2 fouls ago, that kid would have been out the game. He wouldn't have been able to like hammer this kid going up for a dunk. Like, how do you feel? And throw that same microphone that you put in those kids' faces after PIA AA games or South Carolina high school basketball league games and say, hey,
quote, it's a judgment call. And therefore you will not question my judgment. I struggle with it. I really do. And you know, this is my first year doing PIAA. I'm nervous. I'm excited, but I also know what I'm walking into.
Yeah, but there's also a level of like if you do a good job, the coaches will respect it, and you're a part of an umpire team where you can say, hey, listen, guys, we got to do the best job we can tonight. Like it's a lot on the line. These games matter.
I'm less worried about the optics. I want to make sure the call is right.
Yeah, but I think you know enough about baseball where that won't happen.
I mean, I do.
And what it is there's such a referee shortage. That's my dog. There's such a referee shortage.
It's
that
bad.
like that there's like even with us, like they had a guy that last time I called a game, he had on basketball Air Forces. He had on Air Force One.
So I was only a youth umpire up until this past winter, and I joined. Finally, I did my PIAA test because The school that I teach at was constantly getting games canceled because I teach middle school, so they're the last ones to get stocked. And my son plays middle school baseball, and watching some of these guys that they are at this point rolling out the field. The one dude had a heart attack the year before, and he literally was like shaking on the mound.
Oh my God.
He was at least 197 years old. Like at least. Maybe 197 and a half. Like he was up there. So like there is a shortage. I am now currently in 4 umpire associations. I have 4 different assigners. I've already, without being in these other 2, because I was in 2 last year, I already do 100 games a summer. I can't work enough.
Dude, this is wild. I mean, I don't envy you guys at all, but I do think that there's a piece of this that we have
don't
to do
envy,
right.
but at the same time, if you're going to do the job, do the job.
You're right. That's true.
I found that interesting, and I'm glad that we got you into some baseball things.
Listen, I'm not mad about the baseball stuff. I told you I can follow the baseball. I just don't like it as much.
Okay.
Last 2 topics. Let's go.
These should not take very long. They retired Paul Gasol's jersey as a Laker. Thoughts?
Yeah.
No.
Listen, I am as a previous Lakers fan, because I was a Lakers fan until LeBron was a Laker. I will go ahead and admit that I was a Laker and I was a Sixer fan until the Lakers acquired LeBron James. I do like the adding of Pau Gasol. Because during that whole run, with Kobe, that second go round as 24, like Pau was very instrumental, and he was way more instrumental than Andrew Bynum. So there's always a double-headed monster, and some could even say Lamar Odom might deserve a shot. You know what I'm saying?
To be retired.
Not to be retired, but just be recognized as a great
So
Laker.
there is a difference. And that's kind of what I'm saying. Does he deserve to have his number in the rafters with the other Lakers greats?
I think Pau Gasol does. Maybe not like a Lamar Odom, but definitely Pau Gasol. Because he's one of the first players from Hispania, from Spain, to come over and make impact. Like people know him he goes by one name. Everybody knows him by Paul. And to me, he's one of my favorite. He's one of my favorite Gasol.
I love Paul Gasol. I think he is an incredible basketball player. I cannot wait for him to be put into the Hall of Fame. But if you look at his entire body of work, you are looking at a guy who won one NBA championship, right? Just one. Right. He did a ton of stuff over in Europe. Great. Oh, sorry, 2-time NBA champion. I apologize. 2,
and he was a great ambassador for the game. It's just like Dikembe Mutombo.
Again, I agree with all that, but you look at some of his other stuff. So he only played with the Lakers 08 to 14, right? Besides that, he was a Grizzly, he was a Bull, he was a Spur, he was a Buck.
Listen, I think some of these happened after, but you know him more. He
had his most level of success there for sure. But I don't think, if you look at the other numbers retired by the Lakers, that he is of that same caliber.
He may not be of that same pedigree, but think about what's happened since then. Like you haven't added anybody in the last 10 years. I think the next person that'll probably get God will probably be LeBron. So
listen. All right. So tell me that he matches up with Kobe.
No.
Wilt.
No.
Elgin Baylor.
I didn't know very much of Elgin Baylor, but I'm gonna say
Kobe. Gail Goodrich, I don't know much about him. Magic Johnson.
Not
Kareem.
Magic. Not Kareem.
Shaq.
Not Shaq.
James Worthy.
James Worthy, no.
Jerry West.
Okay, check this out. But if you look at those names that you've mentioned, they're a part of a dynamic duo. And I think, and I'm sorry to say this, you're going to hate me for it.
I don't hate
you. Pau Gasol is a part of that dynamic duo with 24 and 16. Just like Kobe 8 is with 34 Shaq or 32 Shaq. So it's actually par for the course. It is. It's par for the course for what the Lakers have done, because you got Kareem and Magic. You got Wilt and whoever, and Jerry West, I guess.
2 played at different times.
Okay.
Wilt was by himself.
Okay. Well,
Jerry West was by himself.
Well, they were
Jerry also got in as a coach.
Yeah. James Worthy. Like there's something that's all three of them with the Lakers and Showtime Lakers. So you got a bunch of guys that they're not just in there because of what they've done individually, but what they've done as a collective. And when you say Pau Gasol, I automatically think of the Lakers. I had forgotten he played for the Bulls in San Antonio. Like I actually forgot about that.
He didn't play for them long. That's why.
Right. So I think in the most time that he was anywhere, the most impact that he made was with the Lakers. And I think if you say Paul, everybody knows who you're talking about. And there's only a couple guys that go by one name.
I think I struggle with retiring everybody's jerseys.
Well, there's not a lot of jerseys. You only said like 10. And 2 of them are the same person. They just got their jersey retired twice.
Yeah, but Pat Riley isn't retired.
Not even as a coach?
Maybe with Miami.
Maybe you can't be retired in 2 places.
LeBron will be.
Well, LeBron is also,
Shaq, I think, is.
With the Lakers and the Magic.
Hold up. Now I'm checking.
I don't know if that's true.
He's retired with the Lakers and with the Heat.
The Heat. Okay, that's a big one. Because he won, he was a part of that second go-round. He made D-Wade hot. Will was with Pat Riley. Okay, that makes sense.
I don't know. I don't want to keep retiring everybody's jerseys just because they were exceptional players. Like, you need to be the face of the league. LeBron can have his jersey retired. I mean, he's got 75 different numbers, so he can retire all of them. Michael Jordan, retire his jersey. I mean, the Kobe, you retire both of his jerseys. Allen Iverson, you retire those jerseys. Are they going to retire Carmelo Anthony's jerseys?
Maybe New York will. But he robbed them for so many years that, I don't know if they probably feel ill will feelings towards
They
him.
might in Denver just because they got to fill the rafters with something.
Somebody's got to go up there.
All right.
Last thing I want to mention real quick about this retiring jerseys. But there are guys that you mentioned that are not the faces of the NBA. And some of them are retired by their perspective. Like anybody that played on the Bad Boy Pistons, probably shitty for the league. but did work for those guys. So
true.
No, like Bill Laimbeer,
Bill Laimbeer's retired.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he is a legit dirtbag.
Oh,
he's the Pete Rose of basketball.
He was trying to hurt people.
They had you just want to stay it up there because we already know what it is.
Final topic.
Hines Ward.
Is Hines Ward a Hall of Famer?
You want me to take it first?
He's your guy.
Hines Ward not only is a Hall of Famer, but he is one of the greatest Pittsburgh Steelers of all time. I remember being in the 11th or 12th grade when the Steelers won their last championship. And I just remember crying. And I remember just Hines Ward, just being there. I remember just seeing him. And he was just so positive. There's a couple guys that are like Hines Ward. They're like the Brian Dawkins of the world. There's guys that are just, they've made such an impact that you have no choice but to put them in the Hall of Fame. And I don't think nobody will ever really debate you about it. Hines Ward was that special. And I mean, he's one of the better guys, and he had to play through a lot of crap, man. He had to play through a lot of crap. Ben's allegations and all that crap. He had to play with a guy that was not really cooking with a whole lot. He had played with Troy Polamalu, other great players in his time. So I mean, he was a constant at that time. Very rarely hurt. Played through a lot of time without a whole lot of injuries. So I think Hines Ward is definitely Hall of Fame now.
I think Hines Ward is a 100% Hall of Famer. 2-time Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP, which again, you're talking about a position that is usually just the quarterback wins the MVP.
Yeah,
but he won it in Super Bowl 40 or 50. 40. 10 before 50 is 40. Sorry, I'm reading Roman numerals.
You have to read subtract.
Yeah. 3-time second team All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler. He's Pittsburgh Steeler all-time, Pittsburgh Steeler Hall of Fame, Pittsburgh Steeler Pro Football Hall of Fame. Dude had 1,000 career catches, 12,000 career yards, 85 career. Hines Ward is a Hall of Famer, and I don't know what the holdup is.
I don't know if he hasn't done anything either. There's guys in there that
he's coaching in the XFL right now.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that like you just kind of I just want to be his friend because I think he has so many
played for
nuggets.
one team.
Yeah.
And here we are. He retired in 2011.
Yep. It's remarkable the people that they let sink through the cracks and the guys that they really put in. And so he said he played quarterback in some college games.
When he was at where the hell did he go to college? He went to
not Colorado,
Georgia. He was a 3rd-round pick in 98 from South Korea. And now he's currently the head coach of the San Antonio Brahmas of the XFL.
That's amazing. Rags to riches.
I'm a big fan of Hines Ward, and I think that he should be in the Hall of Fame. And I'm
not a fan of anybody that sticks it out their entire career and doesn't go chasing rings and chasing money. He did it all in his own. Like that, and them and Troy Polamalu and the Bus, Jerome Bettis, like those guys have such a special place in my heart. Like Philly has the Philly special, and they have Nick, Big Nick. You know what I'm saying? Big Nick, and they have all those guys that go down as Hall of Famers in y'all's mind. And in my mind, I'll never forget the Bus and all the years he suffered and could not win. And, even Big Ben, I have mixed feelings about him now, but him and Hines Ward and all them, like I have mixed feelings about them. But like those were in my football life, those were some of the best years as a Steelers fan of my life. So yeah, I think put him in. I think ring him, give him the Ring of Honor, ring of a Hall of Fame, whatever.
He's got all that already.
Yeah, I know. I see that.
That's what we got. That's our show.
We got through the wheel, man.
I was surprised. The baseball topics took longer than I thought.
No, the baseball topics were real because because it got down to like them controlling games, and I just really thought that those things need to be talked about. So good job on the topics tonight, Chip. That's why you're the best in the business. That's why I pay you all the big money.
What money?
That we don't make. The money that we don't make.
What money? Yo, shout out to
Adam, yeah.
Oh my God, Adam, Kenneth, everybody who just Mikey for the comments tonight. Once again, like we do this for you guys. We bounce back and forth with you guys. Like I love it. I absolutely love it.
Me too. Chip, where can they find you?
You can find me at Chip for the Birds. Talking Eagles things. So there's the free agency, and definitely check out, especially with baseball season ramping up, Umpire Stories. I post all kinds of cool stuff there, including like throwback stuff. So we got like color photos of like Roberto Clemente and Willie Stargell, like those are up there. And then on top of that, stuff like what happened this past weekend with Kenneth, ma'am, thank you. Stuff like happened over the weekend at the college baseball, and I weigh in on some of the controversial baseball things that are happening, plus my feedback from my own games, things that are happening with games that I do myself.
Facts. So for those of you guys who are watching this on my network, D2N Networks, you can find me at D2N Pods and at kickheads.tm. I have a special guest on Kickheads tomorrow. The gentleman by the name of Tyler Butler, who owns his own media company called Sports and Culture. He covered the women's basketball NCAA championships that were down in Greenville. So we're going to talk about that, talk about prep sports because he covers us as well in South Carolina High School League. And we're just excited to have him on tomorrow. We're going to talk to him a little bit about if you can't catch it live tomorrow to be live, but if you can't catch it live, go back and run it back on our YouTube channel. You can find us at D2N Pods on YouTube, and all of our ads are on here. Man, I had fun tonight, Chip.
Always, man. I love doing the show with you.
It's like almost like what is the word? It's almost like
lethargic, not lethargic.
Therapy.
Cathartic.
Oh, that's a nice one. It's a good old SAT word for today. But yeah, man, I'm Drip.
I'm Chip.
That's Chip. And we'll see y'all later. Deuces.